Learn how to use try catch to handle errors that can happen while making an API request. In this lesson, we want to look at how we can handle API errors with try and catch method. So far, we handle an invalid city returned by the API, but there can be another problem. For example, the API itself might fail because of maybe no internet connection, server problems, an incorrect API URL, or other network errors. So using try and catch method allow us to handle this error without having to crash our application. So let's uh, move into our JavaScript code and see how we can actually do this in JavaScript. So the way we are going to make use of this is that we are going to have to make a modification to our search weather method that we have here. So the changes we are going to make is not something that is a lot like that. It's just a bit of refactoring in order to handle situations where we have errors with our API so that our application will not just be, crashing. So looking closely at what we have here, you can see this is our search weather function, then city, then our if statement. So coming down, city name, temperature, weather, humidity, wind, icon, and the loading context, and this. So everything remains, it will still stay the same. Then this is where we are making our API call. So it's still going to do the same. Then let's shift this up. So I want this to show immediately we send a request to our API, and then our response and data. And also we have our if statement to check if we are making an empty request to the API. So having all of this in place, then we can move to this part where we have the city name, weather, temperature, humidity, and icon source as well as the city input value. So here after this, then we can just pass in our catch. Our catch and then pass in our error, whatever is gotten for the API or something. And inside it, we can also use uh, our loaded text content. If there's error for anything, so let's pass this here. This is loading the text content. So we just set this to empty if there's an error. And can put our city name dot text content. Let's give it a simple, text string to enable to get weather data. So situation where we don't have internet connection, then we can gracefully see this message without having to crash our application console.log and whatever is the error. In production, you will not have this, but in testing, then you can have what I just showed here in this example. And so I said we are making use of the try catch method. So we've set up the catch method. So let's just go up after where we are making our API call, which is this place. Then let's set up our try here because this is where we are actually receiving a response. So I'll take this out. And then I'll look for where we have this. Should be after this. Then let me paste. Then that's not the right place if it is showing error. So I'm looking for, okay. try here. Okay, it's still not the right place actually. So let me go and use this to trace. Okay, so we have this. We have our if statement is ending here. Okay. Mm, this okay. This belongs to this, then this is the last one. Oh, sorry. I thought I used curly braces. It is actually curly braces, not brackets. I think the last one should be here. If it is not here, then it should be after this place. Yes. So now we're good to go. So in case when we are in situations where we may not be connected to the internet, so if you search for something, but because we are connected, let's check whether there's anything inside our console. Obviously, nothing is going to be there because we are connected. So, and the API is actually working. New York. So you can see, but when we experience maybe a bad network connection or there's an issue with the API itself, if we are unable to fetch information, then once we go into the console, then we will see that the error is there. So let me try and switch off my Wi-Fi and then let me try and make a request. I'll say Atlanta. I want us to test that together. And now you can see loading. And let's check inside the console. Then we should get a message. So let me try again. Now you can see network error when attempting to fetch resources. And you can see unable to get weather data, which is this text that we have here. So we have successfully handled situations where there might be errors with our, API code or whatever it is, making use of the try catch method in order to block the crashing of our application. So if the request work, the code continues normally and display the weather. But if an error occurs, JavaScript moves to the catch block, which is inside this catch, and then it then remove the loading message and display our error message, which is unable to get weather data, and then log the actual error to the console, which means that our application can handle unexpected problem instead of simply failing. And if you now inspect and check your console, then you should be getting the real error. The error is that network error when attempting to fetch resources. So this is simply that there's no network because I'm not connected. So this is how you can successfully handle API errors with try and catch method in our weather application.